Today we'll be discussing about how Tesla's industry-leading safety features make a difference to drivers, right, in the safety and the autonomy. I mean, Tesla is the world's safest car on the road. And I think, having your insights and expertise will, definitely give us an opportunity and the audience here to know more. So I'd like to lead with the first question. I'd like to know, what has your first experience with a Tesla vehicle been like? Joy, would you like to expand?
The first experience, or when I first got my car?
Actually, I'd like you to introduce a little bit more about yourself, give an introduction, a little bit more. That would be great. Yeah.
So I'm Joy. I have a YouTube channel called Tesla Joy. I've been a Tesla Model 3 owner since July 2018. I have a first batch production, silver metallic, which is a discontinued color, Tesla, and I have been an FSD beta tester since October 2021, so it's been 2 years.
Wonderful. Thank you. Jingit, would you like to give an introduction, please?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to TeslaCon. I'm Jingit. I am in charge of the product pricing portfolio management for Allianz Insurance Singapore. So I'm representing Allianz today. We are one of the major insurer of Tesla globally and as well as in Singapore. And I'm very excited to be here. We have a booth right beside, so do come and visit us.
Hello, I'm Linda. I am like the mama of Tesla Group in Singapore. So I help out when people have problems. And I now have a website called teslainsurance.asia to help our group buy insurance because we were having a lot of problems with that when it first started. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, esteemed panelists, for joining us today. So once again, I'll kick off with the first question. What was your first experience like with a Tesla vehicle? Joy?
My first experience with the Tesla, it was actually 2016 before I got my car.
Yeah.
I had a chance to ride in a Tesla Model S with Autopilot 1 on the freeway, and I was just blown away by the technology, and the car was just driving itself on the freeway in Silicon Valley. So that was my first time.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So I currently do not own a Tesla yet. So my first experience with Tesla was actually back in Hong Kong in 2017. So back then, I think Hong Kong was the densest population, the densest Tesla population in the world back in 2016, 2017 because of the tax rebate. So I remember quite clearly, I was there for work and I was seeing this Tesla just zoom past me on the road. It was a Model 3 and I was thinking to myself, wow, the future is here, right? And fully operational electric car on the road, driving and looking really sleek and solid as well. So that was my first experience. A few weeks ago, I had the chance to also test drive a Tesla Model Y. So that was my first experience as a driver. And I must say, it is both very natural as a driver to transition, as well as very new. It was a very, very new and refreshing experience as well, driving an electric vehicle with the acceleration, with the coolness, with the large screen. So looking forward very much to Tesla making its way in Singapore more.
Definitely.
My experience was through knowing Elon Musk and how the brand was so selfless in pushing for sustainable mobility.
Yeah.
And when my husband said, let's get a Tesla, when it came to Singapore, I was like, okay, of course, we must. When I first got into the car, it was crazy. He said, I had never loved a car before.
You fell in love.
Yeah, and it's like the most naggy kind of co-driver. Just make sure, keep a distance, you're going to left, you're going to right. Yeah, and then like it has superior judgment, even for things that may be a lack of judgment or just an attention lapse.
So it covers like all the blind spots, and sort of almost like protects you when you're on the road, which I think is fantastic,
Because it's artificial intelligence.
Intelligence,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
No, wonderful. Now, Tesla, as you know, has a reputation for safety. Do you guys have a personal story in terms of how it has made driving easier for you? Joy and Linda.
Sure. So, yes. Okay, I'm on. So I do have a personal story. The day I picked up my Model 3 in 2018, I drove it to show my mother my brand new car. And on the freeway in Los Angeles, round trip twice, it helped me to avoid potential accidents when there are cars in my adjacent lanes drifted or veered into my lane and they're in my blind spot. I didn't know until the car started beeping at me, asking me to take control. And the car actually moved a little bit away from the intruding vehicle. So since day one, I started building my confidence in the capability and the safety of this car.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I'll continue my very brief experience with Tesla as well. So my only experience is the test drive that I had a couple of weeks ago. But in terms of safety, I was very impressed by the large screen that showed me exactly what was going on. My acceleration, the speed, the surrounding, and how clear the screen was. I'm a big believer that definitely would also help drivers being more conscious about the safety, their driving behavior and all that. So personally, not yet, but from my very brief driving experience, I can see how it would change and improve driving experience and behavior also for the drivers themselves.
For myself, I just think it's superior intelligence. That's the safest thing for me.
Yeah, and do you have a personal story in terms of where you felt, the safety feature, like as you've been driving?
Yeah, so every day it would be as like just telling me don't go too fast or keep to the left and things like that. It would.
You just drove 2,500 kilometers from Thailand to come back here. I'm sure, it's been a wonderful experience, with the safety and the autonomy features.
Yeah, it was, sometimes I would get really tired.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps me. Its driver assistance is wonderful.
Yeah.
And it will keep on track and beep, 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 beep and stuff like that if I don't pay enough attention.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, great. Now, I'd like to expand a little more towards this question for you, Jingit. In terms of, despite Tesla's additional sort of safety and autonomy features, we notice the insurance premiums, tend to be higher versus normal cars. Could you please expand a little more on that for us?
Yeah, it's a very good question. How much time do we have? Okay.
We
Anyway.
have good time, don't worry.
Okay, let me try to cover this briefly. Yeah, I think this is the number one question a lot of Tesla owners have, is the cost, the overall cost of owning the vehicle. And insurance do play a big part of that cost overall. Other than the savings in petrol versus electric and all that, insurance costs do come to mind. And the reality today is, yes, insurance premium for Tesla in Singapore and actually also across the region and globally is typically higher than a normal like-to-like ICE vehicle, a combustion vehicle. So why is that so? Okay, I'll try to explain this from a viewpoint and a perspective from an insurer. Okay, so if you look at the makeup of an insurance premium, the majority of the cost that you pay is actually going to the cost of repair. Okay, that is the single biggest cost of your insurance premium. It's going to the cost of repair. It's not going to the profit margin of your intermediaries, your brokers, your agency, or to the insurer. So the cost of repair. So despite the safety feature, which I do agree, we do see that the safety feature, the autonomous driving, the advanced driver assistance service system do reduce the frequency of the accident, the probability of an accident occurring. The other part of the cost of the insurance, rather than the percentage of you getting into an accident, is the cost of repair. Okay, so in insurance term is what we call the severity. How much does your repair cost if you were to meet with an accident? At the moment, the data that we see in the markets that with Tesla, there's a lot more Tesla. In Singapore, Tesla numbers are not very high. It's growing extremely fast. That's about 2,000 plus Tesla on the road at the moment, but it's still a relatively small number. In markets where Tesla is a lot more matured, in US, in Hong Kong and all that, The data that we see is that the cost of repair, the average cost of repair of Tesla is significantly higher. It's higher than its counterpart let's say, compared to a BMW, compared to a Mercedes-Benz. It is higher. So why is that so? Honestly, I don't have a very good, clear answer. But what we tend to believe why the average cost of repair of Tesla is a lot higher, there's a few factors. One is we also heard about how advanced Tesla is in terms of the safety feature, in terms of the sensors, in terms of the camera. That means the entire car is equipped with high-tech electronic components. Yeah? The door is not just a door. The door comes with sensors, the door comes with high-voltage cable, the door comes with many different parts that make up a door. So to replace something like that with a lot more electrical components, sometimes it can be more expensive. Then we go also to the workshop. A repair for an EV is extremely technical. You need to go into essentially a room where they store an electric vehicle before the repair can begin. It's not your old sweatshop kind of workshop where people go in, you see a lot of oil change on the floor, a dirty one. If you've ever been to an electric vehicle or a Tesla repair workshop, you can see it's almost like a Apple store. It's a tech company, it's a tech store. Yeah? It's extremely clean, it's extremely mechanical, it's extremely electrical. It's not so manually labor intensive. Yeah? So a few factors that's coming into play, but overall, the insurance premium is high because of the cost of repair. Yeah? One thing I would also like to hope is that as we move into more autonomous driving, as the world opens up to the availability and acceptability of autonomous driving, I am a big believer that the more we move into autonomous driving, the lower the frequency of accident will be. There will be less accidents. So hopefully that can give a positive cost to the insurance premium. And also from a severity perspective, the cost of repair perspective, as Tesla become more common, more available, I'm also hopeful that potentially the repair cost would come down from more spare parts coming into Singapore, from more workshops being able to repair also Tesla. Yeah. So hopefully with some positive implication from this perspective, the insurance premium can come down. Yeah. And I would also like to hear from Joy. So we had a very brief chat earlier, right, on also Tesla insurance. So Tesla insurance is available in several countries and specifically in US, several states. It's not yet in Singapore. But one thing that they do very cool, I think it's extremely interesting, is they use driving behavior, where they translate that into a safety score to directly impact your insurance premium. So to me, that's a really, really wonderful thing because we can actually use insurance as a way to introduce a safer driving behavior to everyone on the road. Yeah. So Joy, over to you.
Thank you. Yes. So Tesla rolled out Tesla insurance specifically for the reasons that you just stated, because the traditional insurance sounds like worldwide from US and from Singapore so far is the cost of repair. And there had been this misconception that Teslas are extremely expensive to repair. And many, many years ago, I would say maybe 2018 or 2019, it was the case because as Model 3 started rolling out, I personally have never test driven a Model 3 before I picked up my car. I did not even drive a Tesla until I drove my own car out of the lot, right? So they didn't have any spare parts. So if somebody had gotten into an accident at that time, they had to wait for a long time for Tesla to produce extra parts in order to fix the car. And so the premiums went up for Tesla owners, insurance premiums. And then Elon came out and said, well, insurance shouldn't be this high because Tesla has autopilot. So I think in 2019, he decided that all new Teslas will have at least the basic autopilot feature, the lane keeping and the distance keeping, right? So he said, well, drivers shouldn't be penalized by if they have this autopilot feature, because it will actually make the car safer, and it will prevent the cars to get into accidents or initiate accidents, I should say. I mean, someone is sideswiping you or rear-ended you, those things you cannot control, but at least a car will not drive itself into another car and cause an accident. So he rolled out Tesla insurance, and I switched. And my premium did go down, and I did a series of videos on my YouTube channel. I actually went through the entire insurance documents and share with people, hey, this is what Tesla insurance covers, and if you do drive a Tesla, and if it is available in your states, you should consider signing up with Tesla insurance. And there's a clause specifically, I just checked it actually last night before I go to bed, just to make sure that the policy didn't change that much. There is an option, well, actually, it's not really an option. They call it an option, they still charge you. It's $20 US dollars for 6 months of premium. It's called Autonomous Vehicle Package. Basically, it says if your car has level 2 and above autonomous driving capability under Tesla insurance, and if the car gets in an accident, Tesla insurance will be responsible for it. So I am hoping that you guys as a provider will take this as an example, and basically Tesla insurance revamped into the legacy insurance industry. So it's no longer looking at, well, your electric car is gonna cost so much more expensive to fix, and therefore EV drivers' premium will be higher than ICE cars, but rather what type of safety technology this car has, and what's the potential of this EV to not engage in accidents, and then price that accordingly. And of course, the safety score as well. I'm in California. Unfortunately, my state, they are not doing the premium based on the safety score, but I do know there in other states in United States, I have friends, their premium is so much, like half of what I'm paying in California, because they maintain like above 95 safety score.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I can just add. Yeah. Maybe I'll just add one point also to do a little bit of marketing for Allianz. Yeah. So beyond just the insurance premium, yeah, in Allianz we believe very much in being a part of journey of the electrification of vehicles in Singapore. Yeah, if you look at the Singapore Green Plan 2030, the government do want to electrify all the vehicles on the road, yeah, towards cleaner energy, phasing out pure petrol vehicles, towards pure electric vehicles or even hybrid. So early last year, we launched one of the first dedicated motor insurance product covering electric vehicle. In our policy, we specify the new risks that come along from owning an electric vehicle. Damages to private home charging, cyber hacking as well. What happens if you get into a claim when you're on your autonomous driving or your advanced driving assistant mode? We explicitly cover that. So in Allianz, we very much believe in the journey of electrification of motor vehicles in Singapore. So we got into the journey early. And if you're interested to know more, we have a booth right there. And we also have a promotion code that we created specifically for the TeslaCon event as well. So please visit at our booth. And if you're not yet a customer, you can do a little bit of sign up, and we will give you a free gift as well.
So there is also a very primitive way that the insurance are using. So over here we have like no claim discount, and besides that, which is the official claims actually passing through, there's also a record that's more that it's on the system, but it's not as well picked up by users generally because we think there is no claim, so there is no issue. But actually, every single report that we are making, even if there was no claim paid out, it is clocked in by the insurers. So in a primitive way, it is being monitored. Yeah.
No, this is really wonderful to hear, especially now. As you know, Elon Musk stated he wants to make Teslas fully autonomous in the future. What do you think, and when do you think this will start happening?
You want to start this?
Well, I've been asked this question quite often, and as an FSD beta tester for the last 2 years, I hold an unpopular opinion about this. I think it's not going to be fully autonomous or level 5 unless other cars on the road are also driving autonomously. Because right now, as you guys know in the insurance, right, accidents happen because humans make mistakes. So as long as there are human drivers on the road, people will doze off, they may be distracted, they will make mistakes, and your car is, you know, I mean, my car is on FSD, but there have been people that would just like cut in front of me or veer in front of me, and thankfully my car stopped, and my car had never rear-ended anybody, but they're just scary moments like that. So my opinion is, unless other cars are also autonomous on the road, level 5 is really hard to achieve.
Thank you.
Yeah, I share a very similar view. Personally, I do hope that the world can transition into a fully autonomous driving mode faster and at a faster pace than what we are seeing now. But the reality is it is extremely challenging. It is extremely challenging because in order to have a fully autonomous world, we need essentially a 95-100% of vehicles on autonomous mode. So it's an extremely hard thing to achieve. That being said, I think different countries and different jurisdictions are on a different pace. Closer to home here in Singapore, LTA actually have a very ambitious autonomous vehicle plan. Yeah, they announced it back in 2014, I believe. So there is an AV roadmap that you can see on the LTA website. Yeah, if you remember, I'm not sure whether the audience will know, but back in the days, we have some of the early adopters of autonomous vehicle in Singapore. There's a test area in One North. Autonomy is one of the French companies that came in and did a lot of autonomous driving testing as well. But operationally on the road, at the moment in Singapore, it's mostly on commercial vehicles, on passenger vehicles. So we have a live example in Gardens by the Bay. There's a fully autonomous bus that drives there for visitors of Gardens by the Bay around the area. There's also one at Jurong Lakeside. And earlier this year, there was also a bus, a Movita bus that started operation on public road, yeah, which is extremely interesting. They ferry passengers from Ngee Ann Polytechnic to King Albert MRT. So that runs every day. So I do see autonomous driving getting more traction in Singapore. Singapore is one of the pioneers globally for autonomous vehicle driving. I think we are ranked number 4th. As a country, Singapore is ranked number 4th in how fast we are moving for autonomous driving. Mostly related more to the commercial space at the moment, but hopefully we'll see more and more. And I'm sure Singapore should be one of the first countries, also because it's a city-state, it's more concentrated, the roads are a little bit better. So hopefully we see Singapore be a pioneer in this area in autonomy. I'm not sure whether it's a word for this, but making sure vehicles go into a more autonomous behavior in all Singapore roads.
I personally think that Singapore is a little bit conservative. Like a lot of the Tesla features that are available in other regions are toned down here because of regulations. I think there is still a lot of fear and of the unknown, and it's always safer to be a laggard, I feel. But if I were to think of it in terms of all the data that the cars are generating and the future, I think it's an eventuality, but it's just how much further in the future. Is it still science fiction at this point in time, or only in very restricted amounts? That's how I think it will go. It's more in terms of a regulation kind of problem at the moment, just to keep everybody in our little bubbles at the moment.
Thank you. Now, this is going to be a bit of a futuristic question. Do you think our kids will need driving licenses, you know, in the future, if we're looking at autonomous driving and how things are going to change? Will they even need a driver's license? Leave it to...
If I can take that, I'll give a very personal view. If it is a fully autonomous driving mode, I don't see a reason why anyone needs a driving license actually. Yeah. But who knows? Who knows? Ultimately, the owner of the vehicle would be responsible. That's my view. The owner of the vehicle, the person that's owning the vehicle would have liability, would have the responsibility for anything that happens to the car or caused by the car. So whether it's a driving license, whether it's an operating license, whether it would change, you may no longer need to, do your parking. So even from the past few decades, back then, everybody needed to do a manual. You need to get your exams passed on the manual mode. Yeah, now it's no longer the case. So I think we are moving there, but how far along would that be? My kids are a little older, so I think they will probably still need a driving license. But maybe our kids.
Like, I personally always hear my friends complain, wow, where he get his license from? It's actually a lot of it is going along the lines of rules and etiquette and like knowing how you should actually behave for the safety of not just yourself, but of other people as well. I think that is the core thing that still needs. But as with a lot of things in life, in culture, we are always evolving. So the things that we would need in the future will be vastly different. And I think firstly, we have to focus on what artificial intelligence cannot achieve, which is the training of the human.
Well, I do have a 15-year-old daughter, and she is preparing for her student license. So direct question is yes, for me, but hopefully her children, if she chooses to have them, hopefully they won't. Because it's not just autonomous driving, but there are also a lot of ride shares. That's another whole topic, right? Another ecosystem. So maybe not her generation, but perhaps the next generation after my daughters, they won't have to worry about getting a driver's license.
I can see that coming with the next couple generations ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. It's been a pleasure.